My problem is, Obama went after McCain on having lobbyists on the bus. And that may or may not be true. It is true. Charlie Black's a lobbyist. Rick Davis, his manager, is a lobbyist. But the guy has a record. Obama has a fine record on ethics. But John McCain has a record for 23 years. Every year he goes to the floor of the Senate and makes fun of the earmarks that lobbyists have produced, and his colleagues take a little piece of skin out of his back for ridiculing them. He tackled Jack Abramoff, even though it made the Republican Party very uncomfortable. He tackled Boeing. He was chairman of the Commerce Committee. Suppose he did write these letters for Paxson, which he may have. I don't really understand the case. The Commerce Committee is one of the most lobbied committees on Capitol Hill. If he only wrote 2 letters out of all that time, that means he was batting 99%. And I'd hate to think that Barack Obama is just going to cherry-pick a few things and not look at the whole record. It seems to me McCain has a pretty good case on this issue as someone who's been pretty tough on lobbyists over the course of his career.
But there will be references to the Keating Five, which he was part of. There will be references to those letters, which he did write. There will be references to money from people who have business before the committee donating to the campaign. It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, obviously it's fair commentary. I guess my point would be, if somebody aims at purity and then hits 95%, how much do we fault them in a world in which a lot of members of the Senate, frankly, are hitting 25% and are wholly owned as subsidiaries of lobbyists?
You did write that if John McCain is publicly contradicted or challenged in any of his comments regarding his news conference, it would be fatal for his campaign.
Yeah, I think I was struck by the tone of that conference. It was total. It was, as a friend of mine said, he went all in. If they can produce evidence of an affair, then that no, which he gave to Kelly O'Donnell, that's it, because he was pretty definite. And I assume he's not stupid. He wouldn't have said it that bluntly. He could have said about the meeting, about the relationship, I don't remember. He didn't say that. He said no.
And you don't think that's right?
That if the affair comes out, that it'll be a big deal? I think to some extent the country has moved beyond it. After the impeachment went so far out of proportion to Bill Clinton's relationship with Monica Lewinsky, it seems like the country is now saying what we really care about is public leadership, not their private behavior. Otherwise, who's going to run for public office if they're going to feel like their private life is absolutely out in the open on everything? And I think the public's ahead of the reporters on this issue.
Let me show you the latest public polls, Hotline and Fox News. McCain, Clinton first. Here's the matchup. We have McCain ahead of Clinton 48-40 and 47-44. The same matchup with McCain and Obama. Obama is ahead on one, 48-40, ahead 47-43. Michelle, do you think the Obama people will be producing those polls for the superdelegates saying, hey, this is who's the strongest
I think
candidate?
they're already producing those polls. Yeah, they've already done it. And the candidate himself is making that case. I mean, he's saying the polls show that in a head-to-head matchup, I'm the candidate that does best against John McCain. So they're already making that argument. And, those calls to the superdelegates, I mean, there are some people who have gone underground. There are stories about people who've changed their phone numbers, who put the phone in the kitchen drawer somewhere because they just don't want to take the calls anymore.
The whole issue of national security, John McCain bases his career on that issue. Barack Obama made this comment at the debate how he would go after John McCain on that central issue. Let's listen.
And I think that when we're having a debate with John McCain, it is going to be much easier for the candidate who was opposed to the concept of invading Iraq in the first place to have a debate about the wisdom of that decision.
Does that work?
It was his best foreign policy answer, I think, that he had given to date. He finally answered the committee. That goes back to the whole point of that debate that was shocking. I think the beginning of that was a question to Hillary Clinton asking whether Barack Obama was ready to be commander-in-chief. She ducked the question, which seemed to think, imagine had she said no, he's not ready. John McCain would have uttered that line 1,000,000 times between now and the November election. She didn't do it. He decided to take the question and say, not only am I qualified, I'm better qualified than she is to go after McCain. It is showing that he is growing as a candidate, that he is getting better, and he might be ready for this matchup. And frankly, this 25-year age difference between Obama and McCain, that may be the most striking thing after all. The only thing John McCain is thankful for, I think, is that the election isn't held on a week-to-week basis, and there aren't these back-to-back speeches that you would see every night between Obama, and these Tuesday nights have not been good for John McCain of late.
David Brooks said Barack Obama also saying, my most important judgment as a commander-in-chief was I was against the war. Hillary was for it. McCain was for it. That shows I can be a very good and effective commander-in-chief.
Right, and if the verdict on foreign policy is about that, then Obama will win. McCain will try to shift it and say, hey, what about the surge? There were two decisions here. There was the one decision for the war, but there was another decision when we were in the pits. And I was one driving the decision. It's produced some tremendous security benefits. It's beginning to produce some political benefits. He was on the wrong side of that. He'll try to change that. I think it'll all come down to how threatened do the American public feel. If they feel threatened by things abroad, then he is the safe choice. If they want to move beyond that and look at domestic issues, then Obama is going to win.
We got 5